I want to go back to this Rogan situation for a minute.
Sick of Joe Rogan spreading all of this misinformation about vaccines.
Giving opinions about the vaccines that are not based in science is just not the right thing to do.
Spotify has been under fire because in spite of the podcast host's misinformation on COVID vaccines and the use of racist language in some of his prior episodes, Spotify has chosen to keep working with the artist. And why wouldn't they? After all, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast attracts more than 12 million listeners every month, and Spotify paid $100 million for the exclusive rights of the podcast in 2020. Joe Rogan has become effectively too big to cancel, which begs the question, why is he so damn important that artists such as Neil Young are leaving? Let's start by understanding this character. Joe Rogan is a top podcaster in the world. Besides being a comedian, an MMA fighter, and an actor, his show has an estimated 200 million downloads per month thanks to the variety of guests and controversial conversations he gets into on topics ranging from politics to fitness and wellness. His show is by definition one of the greatest promoting spaces for a product or service or someone looking for attention, which means that if a company were to hold exclusive rights to his podcast, the revenue growth prospects coming from advertisements would be massive, and exactly the reason why Spotify bought the rights to the podcast. How does Joe Rogan contribute to Spotify's financial performance? Let's do some math. Think about it this way. 200 million downloads per month translate to approximately 12.5 million listeners per episode if he airs 16 episodes in a month, or 4 per week. The typical CPM, or cost per thousand impressions, in advertising for podcasting averages at $18, and there's typically 4 ads in one of his 3 to 4 hour shows. This means that in a typical month, he would generate $14 million. If you assume that he can increase his number of downloads by 2% every single month, that would put him close to $200 million per year in ad generating revenue. To put that number in context, that is 15% of the total revenue generated by Spotify in 2021 from both podcasts and music advertising. And according to a leaked internal memo, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast commands a 5% share of all podcasts in the platform, meaning that the ROI is definitely paying off. This is exactly why 24 hours after the announcement was made, the stock soared by 8% from $161 per share to $175 per share. No other artist or artists for that matter contribute that much to the company, and that's why he's a keeper. Spotify CEO has taken some action to quiet down the complaints from the music community about the misinformation and the racist slur, and he has taken down some of the episodes from the podcast with harmful content or misinformation. However, that will not necessarily stop the exodus of artists. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Joe Rogan and his podcast. I think he contributes more than does harm with his points of view and brutal candor. I enjoy his discussions around fitness and mental toughness, and also think he could be the catalyst for better features in the Spotify platform, such as opening up the way for video podcasting and competing with YouTube on that space, and even come up with content creator tools to entice talent to improve their shows and reach wider audiences. Will he continue to have this much pull in the company's performance? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, Joe Rogan is untouchable. If you like videos like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, thank you. Ciao.